Thanks for joining, I'm Gareth, this is Film and Photo, and today I'm going to be showing you how to bring one of these to life. So for May the 4th, I posted a video of my kids playing with their lightsabers. A few people asked me how it was done, so I thought I would let you know. This is the video. So I used a combination of Premiere Pro and After Effects to put the edit together, but the bulk of the legwork is done in After Effects. You'll need a free plugin, which I will link in the description, and some footage of people using lightsabers. The first thing that we need to do is get the plugin for After Effects, and you get that from Video Copilots. I will leave a link in the description for you. The next thing you're going to want, which we'll come back to a bit later, is some sound effects. I just found these ones on YouTube, so just download those, or there are plenty of other places that you can get them as well. So next thing you're going to want to do is open up Premiere Pro, which I've already done, and then import all the footage and input the audio that we're going to use later. Then what you're going to do is do a new sequence, and we're doing ours in 24 frames per second, just so that I can slow the footage down, and come over to that. So this is the bit of footage I'm using of Oliver. So I filmed this at 50 frames per second. So what we're going to do is just change this so that it's showing at 24 frames per second, and that kind of gives it that slow-mo epic feel to it. So we're going to come up to Modify, Interpret Footage, then click on this one and change that to 24. So now when you play it back, you'll notice it's kind of got a bit of a slow-mo feel to it. So we will drag this into the sequence. I'm going to keep the existing settings, just trim off any of the bits that we don't need. It's about there. Drag this in so we can get in a bit more detail. So then what you're going to want to do is head back to the point just before the lightsaber starts to appear in the frame. So about there is going to work well. What we'll do is we'll just split this I use Command K to split it into two, and then on this part with the lightsaber in, we're just going to hit replace clip with After Effects composition. So that brings up After Effects. We'll give it a name, Ollie Lightsaber, and that's automatically brought in the clip that we're going to work with. Okay, so this is where it starts to get fun. What we're going to do is we're going to click here, right click down here and click New, and go to Solid. This can be any colour, doesn't matter, as long as it's the same size as the composition. So we get this black layer. Then in your effects and presets, we're going to type in Saber. This is providing you've installed the plugin. Drag that out onto it. You'll see this nice lightsaber appear. What we're then going to do is change the blend mode and we do that by clicking on blend modes, and then we're going to make it screen, so it's now overlaying nicely. And now we need to map this to the clip. So the way I tend to do it is go right back to the first frame you see the lightsaber, which is here. We're going to click the start at the hilt, and then bring the end just next to it, just there. And then if we open it up down here, we need to make the opacity here, we need to put a keyframe in for 100% there, and then the frame before it needs to be 0%. So it will then come in the frame. So what we're going to do is track frame by frame, changing. If we click the record on here, make sure you do this, otherwise it won't remember the previous frame positions. So we can see this one's the end, so we'll pull that one out. Skip forward a frame. On a Mac, that is Command and right. And just make sure that you keep covering the lightsaber itself. What I find makes this a little easier is if we just pull the opacity right down, maybe up right down, so you can just see the anchors at either end. So we're going to place that one there. We just have to remember to go back and take that keyframe out so that it stays. So every time we're looking for the beginning and the end. Of the existing lightsaber. So we're just going to track all the way through this shot, and I'll speed all of this bit up for you so you don't have to sit and watch me do it all. Okay, just a quick note here, when you're adding these you really need to keep it at the edge of the line in the direction that the lightsaber is moving, so that you cover the motion blur. So as the lightsaber has just changed direction, you can see the direction of the motion blur has changed, so we need to make sure that we keep that covered. Okay, so that's all of the marks mapped out. What I like to do is just then scan through and make sure I haven't missed anything. So then what we'll do is we'll get rid of this extra keyframe here that we don't need for the opacity, and it will look something like this. So what you will notice, as the lightsaber goes behind the actor, the plugin stays on top. So there is a way around this, which I'll now show you. Okay, to stop it from going behind the actor, you need to come to a couple of frames prior, grab the pen tool, mark out a rough shape around the actor. And in the effects control for the lightsaber, we need to make sure this is enabled and that you click invert. So now as we go through, you'll see that it doesn't go through the mask. So if we click on the mask controls and mask path, we'll be able to adjust the mask as we go through the frames. So make sure this was ticked. We'll just quickly drag this up. The thing to be careful of is not getting rid of too much of the glow, but we can adjust the glow later. Okay, so that's the mask done. So now what we need to do is make sure that the mask isn't interfering in any other places of the shot. So we know that we need it to come into about here, so we're going to give it opacity of 100% keyframe here, but the frame before it, we'll drop that down to 0, so it's not going to now affect this part of the shot. That will work all the way across there. And about there we don't need it anymore. About there. So we'll give that one a keyframe just by clicking here. And then the frame after it, we don't need it. So we'll drop the opacity back down to 0. And then it looks like this. Okay, so now we've got it all masked out. What we can do is change the settings for the lightsaber itself. The plugin has got loads of options. I quite like the arc reactor preset, which kind of gives it this almost electric feel to it. But there are loads of others which can be used for lots of different things. Lots of different effects. So for a lightsaber, I really like the arc reactor. It's a bit like Kylo Ren's. And then we can change the colour. So I'm going to use green, because that's the original colour of the lightsaber on this one. Get a bit darker. So we're going to go ahead and save that. Jump back into Premiere Pro. And that should automatically be updated in here. See, that looks great. So now what we're going to do is add the audio, which is this one. If you bring it up into the monitor, you can then just drag out the audio, which is all we need. First thing we need is the ignition. Just this section here, which is all we need for that bit. Drag that over to beginning of the, there we go. So that should look like this. That's great. So now we just need to fill with a swing, which can go kind of anywhere fairly early on, and then a second swing as he brings the lightsaber back down. It's about there. So that looks like this. That bit over a tiny bit. And then we need a bit of hum to just kind of fill the gaps, which is quite nice here. And we'll just duplicate that. We do that by holding Option and dragging it out. fill in the gaps to get rid of the harshness as it goes from one clip to another. If we just go to exponential fade, which is in the audio transitions, you can then just drag that onto the beginnings and the ends of these clips. Now we should have something that looks pretty good. So that's it, thanks for watching. I would love to see your creations, so if you put a link in the comments, that would be great. Don't forget to hit like, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe, and as always, I will see you in the next video.